Namo Buddhaya. Hello everyone. Welcome to our Sunday Dhamma Talk series. This weekly special Dhamma Talk series is conducted by renowned Buddhist monks from around the world, and it is aimed at helping Dhamma USA community to expand their Dhamma knowledge. Join us every Sunday at 6 a.m. Pacific time, 9 a.m. EST, Eastern time. And so today is our Dhamma Talk series number 101. The topic today is Who was the Buddha? Unveiling the Enlightened One. The speaker is not new to you. You already have seen him. You already have listened to his wonderful talks. Dr. Bhante Surakkulame Pemaratana from Pittsburgh, Buddhist Vihara. And Bhante Surakkulame Pemaratana is the esteemed chief monk of the Pittsburgh Buddhist Center and Cleveland Buddhist Vihara. Born and educated in Sri Lanka, Bhante moved to the United States in 2008 and earned a PhD in religious studies from the University of Pittsburgh in 2017. He further enhanced his academic credentials as a Robert Howe Family Foundation postdoctoral fellow at the University of Pennsylvania from 2020 and 2022. Currently, he serves as a part-time faculty member in the Department of History at Carnegie Mellon University. Dedicated to his life role, Bhante Pemaratana is actively involved in nurturing the Sri Lankan American Buddhist community in the greater Pittsburgh area, as well as an expanding group of Americans keen on exploring Buddhism, mindfulness, and meditation. He conducts workshops on meditation and provides spiritual counseling to assist individuals in navigating life's complexities. Additionally, Bhante regularly travels to Southeast Asia to lead public talks and meditation retreats, further spreading his teachings and support. So, um, with that introduction, I would like to warmly welcome our Bhante Surakkulame Pemaratana. Thank you, Venerable Surakkulame Pemaratana. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Indeed, it's a great honor and pleasure to be in this platform. And thank you very much for your invitation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And so, without further the delay, I would like to invite you to talk on this topic, and later we will discuss some questions if we have. Okay, over to you.
Thank you, Bhante. Let us start with our salutation to the Supremely Enlightened One. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Dear friends in the Dhamma, today I'm so honored to be part of this Dhamma Talk series. And so today the topic that we are going to discuss today is the who was the Buddha. So today our main focus is our main refuge, who is the Buddha. But before I start the talk, I have to say that um, talking about the Buddha is not something that we can fully uh, do a justice. So we know that, to when we talk about an enlightened one, the Buddha, and his great qualities, his depth of the wisdom, and then his great compassion, and those things are unimaginable for a normal human mind. Therefore, only another Buddha would be able to talk about a Buddha comprehensively. But so understanding that, but today our effort is actually to get some hints about uh, what was the nature of the Buddha, and then develop our saddha, develop our confidence, and develop our inspiration based on that. Because the more we learn about the Buddha, the more we contemplate, the more we examine the life of the Buddha, the more we understand the value and great virtues of the Buddha. So our effort today is to enhance our understanding a little bit and to explore this topic on the nature of the Buddha today. So first thing we need to remember actually, although we use the term Buddha to refer to the Buddha is not his name. So the Buddha is not his name, and Buddha is a state that he achieved. We all know that his name. He has a name. His name is Siddhartha Gautama or Gautama. So Siddhartha was his first name. Gautama or Gautama was his last name. Uh, so Siddhartha Gautama or Gautama is his personal name. And sometimes we also call Shakyamuni. The Shakya is also his father's friend, a sage of the Shakya. But but
Bhante,
his
I have a small request. Do you have a PowerPoint? Do you want to share it with the others?
uh,
Any
no
presentation?
no no Bhante, no.
Okay, okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, I hear some sound. Is that okay from your side? Okay, good. Thank you, Bhante. And so therefore his name was different, but the term Buddha is actually the term Buddha himself used to refer to him in addition to the term Tathagata, and the term Buddha stands for a state that he achieved. What is that stage? And it's an important question we need to ask. We know that term Buddha comes from a verb. Actually, the Buddha is grammatically is a past participle of a verb. The verb is bodheti or bujjati. That means to realize, to understand. In some way, it's also when you say bujjati, is also has a meaning of wake up. That is the verb, and when we get the past participle of the verb, so the bodheti or bujjati become buddha in its past participle form. So that means the realized one, the enlightened one, or the awakened one. So that is the meaning of this term. So whoever achieved that state is called the Buddha. So once we achieve that state, it is the full comprehension of the deep reality of our life and the full comprehension of exactly how the things operate in the world. So when you deeply realize the mechanism of the reality, mechanism of life, mechanism of existence, and one who realized that state can be called the Buddha. But once you realize that state of the Buddha, you are no longer a normal human being. You are no longer an ordinary being. You actually have transcended various other forms of beings. So of course, the Buddha was born as a human being, as a prince. So we have a clear historical evidence, that he lived in the 6th century BCE, and his parents, his early childhood is spent in Kapila Vastu, and then he renounced his life. So and he and so therefore we have all this evidence to show that he was this historical person. But when he achieved, and after he achieved the enlightenment, he is no longer an ordinary human being. So that is the state that today we want to discuss. What kind of change really happened in him when he achieved the realization, when he achieved the enlightenment, when he became the Buddha, when Siddhartha Gautama became the Buddha. What really happened in him? It's not something, again, we can fully comprehend, but it's important to understand exactly basic things that will encourage our own practice. So there are a few sutras that can be used for us to understand the transformation happen in the Siddhartha Gautama's life in the process of becoming the Buddha. So one important discourse is called Drona Sutta. It is, as found in Anguttara Nikaya, the numerical discourses. There we find an interesting incident. Drona, there was a person called Drona. He was an educated person, and he has an expertise in reading the signs of the body. They will. So there was such kind of studies at that time in India. You will read the face, and you can say the characteristic of that person. You can read the palm, and you can say here the character of that person. So in that way, this person was expert in reading the footprints, foot, in the physical feature of the foot, and also the footprints. So one day, this Drona, he was going in his morning walk. It looks like those days also people were like having this jogging kind of exercise called Janga Viharana. So he was going on that morning walk, and then he noticed a very special kinds of footprints along the path, in the sandy path. Uh, and so when he noticed that shape of the footprint, and also the way that foot has been placed on that sandy path, and he quickly realized that this should not be from a ordinary human being, because we know that when the way we walk also can tell us state of our mind, right? So when we how we place our foot on the ground is also an expression of our internal quality, how exactly you place it. So when the droners noticing these footprints really wanted to find out who's this being. So he followed that footprint, the extraordinary footprints, the shape, and also the way that those footprints have been placed, and is been um, uh, been marked on the ground. So he followed that footprints, and then at one point he saw that there is a person sitting under a tree. Then he really wanted to go and talk to this person. And then according to the Drona Sutta, and he asked few questions from the Buddha. And he really wanted to know who was the Buddha, the same question that we are talking today. So, so he actually, instead of asking who is the Buddha, he has some guesses. Because notice in these things, he has a guess that this should not be from a human being. So he thought that maybe this could be a manifestation of a divine being, or maybe a divine being has appeared here, maybe in disguised form. So he approached to the Buddha. This footprint was actually of the Buddha. So he approached to this Buddha who's sitting under that tree, and he asked this question: "Are you a deva? Are you a divine being?" And Buddha answered, "No, I'm not a divine being." And then he thought, okay, if this is not a divine being, then his second guess, maybe, and he also they also believed in other category of beings, and there's one category called Gandhabba. It's like a semi-divine being, the beings who are experts in art and music. So it's a kind of second grade, divine being. So then he thought, okay, if it's not a first grade divine being, maybe it should be other semi-divine being. So he asked, "Are you a Gandhabba? Are you a semi-divine being?" The Buddha answered, "No, I'm not a semi-divine being either." Then he thought that, okay, in that case, this cannot be a normal person. Maybe he thought that maybe this is a demon in disguise. So he asked the third question: "Are you a yak? Are you a demon then?" And of course, Buddha answered, "No, I'm not a yak either." Then he is left with the last option. It's So then he asked lastly, "Oh, in that case, are you a human being?" What do you think? Uh, what do you think the answer of the Buddha when he asked, "Are you a human being?" The Buddha's answer was, "Brahmin, I'm not a human being." And then he was confused because he asked from the Buddha all these different categories, and now he don't know. There's then who you are. Yeah, if you are not the Deva, if you are not a Gandhab, if you are not a Yaka, and then who you are. There actually Buddha used this term, the Buddha. And Buddha explained that why is not a Deva and all other beings. He said that if I am a Deva and these particular divine beings have a specific distinctive tendencies of the mind that usually those divine beings are having. So Buddha said that I don't have those tendencies that will make someone a Deva. I don't have those tendencies. I don't have these fashioning conditions of my mind that make someone a Deva. I don't have those things in my mind. And I don't have those tendencies that are unique to a Gandhava. I don't have karmic conditions that will make someone a Yaka. And I don't have, and also Yaka and Deva. And in the same way, Buddha said that the normal the tendencies of a normal human mind is not present in me. And the nature of human mind, ordinary human mind, is not present in me. Therefore, my mind cannot even be called a human. And Buddha said that my mind has transcended all these tendencies, all these unique characteristics of all different kinds of beings. So my mind does not have conditions, does not have tendencies that will bring me to any type of category of being. So Buddha said, I have transcended all forms of beings. And Buddha gave an interesting simile there, the simile of a lotus. Buddha said, I have gone beyond all these tendencies, and then I have transcended even an ordinary human, nature. So it's just like a lotus. Buddha said that lotus uh, is growing, it's rooted in the mud. Is also fed with the water, but lotus has rise above the water and the mud, and then shine above the water. All that is rooted in the mud and then and surrounded by the water, it has transcended and then shine above. And Buddha said that state of the Buddhahood is like that. So Buddha said that you can't call me, you can't use any of these terms of different beings to refer to me. So therefore, Brahmin, you can call me the Buddha, the awakened one. So in this Drona Sutta in the Anguttara Nikaya, in this discussion can help us to have some understanding of the transcendence, like complete transformation happen in the mind of the Buddha, in the life of the Buddha. So the term the Buddha actually is a state that transcend all forms of beings, so all realms of beings. So Buddha's mind cannot be categorized. Buddha's mind cannot be classified into any existing categories of beings. So his mind is so unconditioned. His mind has transcended all these, distinctive characteristic tendencies, conditions. So his mind cannot be classified into any available categories. So he has transcended this whole categories of beings. That is the meaning of the term Buddha, that awakened one. So there we can understand that this happened to a human being. Of course, Buddha was born as a human being, but then gradually, through his own practice, through his own dedication, of course, with the support of the practice that he had in his previous lives, this becoming the Buddha is not something that he did within his, this lifetime, but it be all the, training, all the preparation, all the training, all the, paramitas, all the perfection that he fulfilled in his previous lives help him to become the Buddha in this life. But he was born as an ordinary human being. But through his sincere, dedicated practice, he was able to rise above to become the enlightened one, become this transcendent being, although in the human body. So Buddha was in human body. He went his human body went through all the the conditions, all the stages that any other ordinary human body will go. But his mind is different. So therefore, so this is the kind of very distinctive nature of the Buddhism itself, because the many religions and many spiritual traditions will usually have a teacher or founder or someone who will claim that they are a messenger of like a divinity, or divinity himself, or maybe a messenger. So it's always the realization, whatever teaching that they are giving has come from external source, some source, beyond this, some kind of external authority and source. But becoming the Buddha is actually one of the human beings, through long practice, somehow blossomed, somehow enlightened, somehow realized this mystery of life, realized this, mechanism of this existence. So one of the human beings is actually becoming the Buddha. So the Buddha is not someone who came to the world from outside. What Buddha is teaching is not a knowledge that came to us from external source. Actually, the Buddha is one of the human beings, through his own practice and dedication, and through long practice, are coming to this peak of the evolution, the peak of the human evolution. It's like, the like a blossom, the fully blossomed state of all beings. So one of beings is realizing that, and so the Buddhism is a realized religion. It's not a revealed religion. Many other religions and spiritual traditions are revealed religion and spiritual tradition. Those teachings were revealed to them by some external higher power. So their religions are revelations, revealed religion. But the Buddhism is a realized religion, or realized spiritual tradition. So the term Buddha stands for that. So and so we can also use another sutta to understand the kind of transformation happened in the Buddha in terms of his realization, this awakening state. And so there's another sutta called Vairanga Sutta. Vairanga Sutta is found also in the Anguttara Nikaya. There, there was a discussion, among other, disciples and other, people in that area, in the Vairanga village, that Buddha was quite young comparing to many other religious teachers. There were many other prominent, spiritual teachers. Of course, in 6th century BC in India was a very rich, religiously, spiritually rich environment. There were so many teachers, spiritually evolved teachers teaching so many things. There was also religious freedom for anyone to, teach about and teach their own, realization, understanding. So there were so many prominent religious teachers. So there was a discussion that actually All other teachers are quite advanced in their age. They are quite old. But Siddhartha Gautama, what you call the Buddha, is not that old. I mean, of course, we know that Buddha became the Buddha at the age of 35. And so they were discussing that actually Buddha was quite young, um, but he claimed the enlightenment, and also he don't like become a disciple. He don't pay respect to these other well aged old teachers. So there actually Buddha told them, maybe other teachers may be advanced in their ages, in their years, but actually I am the eldest in terms of understanding. I am the senior, most senior in terms of understanding. And there Buddha gave an interesting simile, again an interesting simile, and this time is about eggs. And Buddha said that if a chicken is warming his eggs, we know that chickens has to warm their eggs to give then the eggs will maybe fertilized eggs will mature, and then eventually will the chicks will come out. So Buddha said that when a chicken is warming up his eggs, so there will be all these eggs will not all these eggs will not hitch at the same time. So there'll be one chick who will for the first time will use his uh, beak, and then will break the shell of the egg. And so whoever comes first in this, let's say this chicken is warming up 10, 12 eggs, and after warming up for some weeks, and there will be one egg will be hitched, and there'll be one chick will come out from breaking the shell of the egg. And so then that chick is the eldest in that among these 12 chicks. So given that similar, Buddha said that um, in this particular period, I'm the first one to break the shell of the egg. And Buddha said the shell of the egg. That means Buddha said that, and then Buddha said in the same way, the whole population of beings in this universe is enveloped, just like the shell of the egg, is enveloped in the shell of ignorance. So all beings, all this population is immersed and enveloped in the shell of the egg. Sorry, in the shell of the ignorance, not the egg. In the shell of the ignorance, everyone is covered with this ignorance. And I am the one who, for the first time in this particular period, broke that wheel of ignorance, broke that shell of ignorance, and realized what is really going on, what is really how this life happens, how the suffering arises, and how it can be overcome. And so, in there, Buddha said this understanding that all living beings are in the state of some kind of blindness, kind of we all are enveloped in the shell of egg, a shell of ignorance. So Buddha is the one uh, who broke through the shell and realized what is really happening. So there also Buddha give this gave us that we can use that discourse also to understand the kind of penetration that Buddha has done to have this realization to become the Buddha. So here that Buddha used the term avidya or avijja. Avidya usually we translate as ignorance. So we need to understand this. The term avijja is more like a blindness, that we don't see the things as they are. We don't see the things as they are. Usually, the breaking of this avijja is the key happen in the life of the Buddha. And then, of course, with great compassion, Buddha has also taught us the methods to have the same breakthrough. So this avijja, this blindness, is basically when we receive information through our senses, we simply take those information as they appear to us. And so when we get sensory data, there's a whole process of processing those information and making sense of that information. Whenever we hear sounds, when you see any forms or taste or tactile sensation, smell, or whatever these things come to us, actually our experience of those sensory data coming to us based on our sensory capacities and also our prior mental images that we have constructed, what we call namarupa. So whenever any image, any visual form touch our eye can only catch certain kinds of colors. So our eye has a capacity and a limitation. And then there are so many mental images, names that we have learned previously, and we combine all these things, and then we see what we see. So but we don't see that process. So whatever we see, we think that whatever we see exists as we see it. So we also project a permanence to what we see. So what Buddha has done is actually he has broken through this blindness, that he has seen exactly how we construct our experience. Whenever we have any sensory knowledge, and how it really happens, this whole process. And therefore he explained us everything is dependently arising. Even our experience of the world is dependently arising. So what we experience is actually the dependently arising process, and the result, whatever we experience, is not really as what they are, but this our sensory capacities, our mental images combine, and we experience it. Therefore Buddha help us to understand that our experience is a constructed experience, is a dependently arising experience. So don't take that things as permanent, as belonging to us. So Buddha realized it, and of course we can talk about it right now because Buddha has taught this to us. Buddha has revealed, that realization to us. But we have to personally realize the same thing for ourselves. So that's the kind of deep penetration Buddha had in his life. So that is in terms of realization. And of course, with great once Buddha realize this basic blindness that we all are having, that we don't really see how our experience happens. We only see the end of the experience, and then we falsely think that whatever experience is permanent, whatever experience can be owned, and we have all kind of misconception about our experience. And as a result, we will attach, we anything as permanent and pleasant, and we will attach, and then we will create, suffering. So he realized that actually all our suffering is due to our misunderstanding, and also our, craving, our craving for it. So therefore, with great compassion, when Buddha once Buddha penetrated, or like once Buddha broke this shell of ignorance, he realized that the whole all beings are under this blindness, and all beings are going through this deep suffering. So he really wanted to help others. So that is why he really wanted to teach. So Buddha taught the method and techniques, a gradual path for all other beings to have the same penetration, have same realization. Of course, not all the other skills that Buddha had, but basic understanding, realization, and basic liberation and freedom is possible for all beings. So so the teachings of the Buddha is actually for us to overcome that blindness, and also for us to transcend our individual habitual patterns, and our our tendencies, like as a human being, of course, we have all the good wholesome qualities, but at the same time many other weaknesses, and and habitual negative habitual patterns. So becoming the Buddha is actually going beyond those patterns. So Buddha has taught us this method, this follow the the noble eightfold path, which includes the correct understanding of the path, and moral behavior, and deep practices of meditation, and developing wisdom. And all these techniques can help us to transcend our own being, transcend our normal weaknesses, and transcend our negative habitual patterns. So that is this path is for. Therefore, uh, so becoming the Buddha is actually really transcending, like, evolving oneself beyond our current level of evolution. So we know that we talk about evolution of beings when it comes to human beings, and human beings have evolved so much, but this is not the end. This is not the peak. So the Buddhahood can help us understand the peak of spiritual evolution, the evolution that we have to make, the transcendence that we have to achieve. So that is basically that we say that the Buddha and we need to understand that Buddha, although Buddha said that he is the first one to hatch or to break the shell of the ignorance in this particular period, therefore he is the eldest, he is the most senior. But Buddha said that there were many other Buddhas before me. And then Buddha said that Buddha's discovery of the Four Noble Truths, Buddha's discovery of the Noble Eightfold Path is similar to discovery of an ancient city by archaeologists. Uh, and in the Nagara Sutta, the Sutta on the city, Buddha said that my discovery of the Dhamma is not is already there, and it had been also discovered by many other Buddhas in many eons ago. But I'm rediscovering it. But of course, for this particular period, he is the first one to realize it. So therefore, it shows that actually this realization is possible. It happens in human civilization. And because the Buddha's compassion, Buddha has given us this path for us also to gradually evolve and gradually realize that actually we have this basic blindness, and whatever we see, smell, taste, the way we encounter the world is not exactly the true nature of the world. And this is how our senses present the world to us. This is how we construct the world through our mental images. But the reality is different. So mainly understanding that we all are in a blindness. And thanks to the Buddha, with gratitude to the Buddha, at least we understand that we are in a blindness. But then Buddha has taught us a method to overcome that, and we gradually try to overcome it. So that when you understand the Buddhahood in that way, it can help us to to understand what kind of practice that we have to do and what kind of state that we are going. It's really we are actually moving to the next phase of our evolution. With this deep realization, there's a big other transformation happen in the Buddha's life. And of course, we know that all the asavas, all the kilesas, all the defilements are completely eradicated as a result of this realization. Therefore, Buddha was completely free from all the defilements. That is why we call him Arahant. Like even and complete eradication of these defilements. So by following the Buddha's path, others, his disciples, others also can come to that complete purity of the mind. So as a result, there's nothing in this world that bothered him. So we know that there are so many interesting incidents that that Buddha faced, and he was not really bothered by them, right? And one is an interesting, famous story is actually, and Buddha was accused, accused vehemently, by another Brahmin. We know that there's a Brahmin called Bharadwaja, and he was very quite unhappy with the Buddha because his brothers, his other relatives of his clan, has become disciples of the Buddha, and he has he is quite unhappy with that. So he really wanted to accuse the Buddha, blame the Buddha, but he was afraid of blaming the Buddha in the temple, in the monastery. So he invited the Buddha to come to his home to to have a meal. So Buddha accepted with great compassion, and then so then once Buddha reached his home, he let the Buddha sit down, but then he started to blame. He started to use all the bad words, all kind of accusation, keep blaming and blaming and blaming, accusing the Buddha for destroying his family. and accusing the Buddha for like all kinds of things. And Buddha was carefully listening to what he has to say. Buddha was not shocked. Buddha was not got upset. Buddha was complete. Of course, Buddha is in a different evolved state, and nothing can disturb bother him. He was closely paying attention to what this person has to say, but the Buddha did not reply. But they did not try to correct or defend himself. Just listening, paying attention and listening. But after a while, this Bharadwaja lost his words, and because there's no response, there's no response coming from the Buddha. So therefore, after a while, he became silent when he said all the things that he had to say, because there's no response from the Buddha. He became silent, and then after he became silent, then Buddha started talking, and Buddha asked a whole different question, and asked Brahmin, do you get visitors to your home? And he was quite hesitant to answer that. He said, "Why not? I am a well-recognized person in this area, and people visit me all the time." And Buddha said, "Okay, when those people visited you," and Buddha's talking completely different topic now. And Buddha said, "Okay, when those people visited you, do you give them food and drinks, and do you treat them nicely?" And he said, "Why not? I'm a very polite person. When people come, I definitely give them drink, give them food if they need. I really treat them. I really host them nicely. I'm a good host." And Buddha said, "Okay, what happens if those people do not drink what you offer? If the people do not really eat what you gave them? If those people, those visitors do not accept what you gave them, what you do to those, treats? What you do to those, food and drinks?" And he said that if they don't drink them, eat them, I will eat them, after they leave. And Buddha said that all the trees that you have been giving me since I came here, came to this house, I'm not going to take any of them. So I'm going to hand over everything back to you, because I'm not ready to take any of them. Those things and those the accusation blames are like the treats that you are given to your guest, who did not accept your gift. But anyway, by that time, when he watched the Buddha, how Buddha was actually carefully listening to his accusation without even telling a word, without even making his face um, bad, and he was already impressed with the deep patience, deep stability, deep equanimity of the Buddha. And so then from there, Buddha was able to give more teachings to Akkosa Bharadwaja, and ultimately Bharadwaja also became one of the disciples of the Buddha. So even Buddha was, there are so many such instances. The Buddha was accused, he was blamed, but his mind was so transcendent, is completely pure, and he has no any defilements or any conceit or ego, for therefore nothing can hurt him or disturb him or bother him. So that's one example, what really happened to the Buddha, who was the Buddha. So there can be so many other instances where we can discuss the nature of the Buddha. But I think I would like to stop my talk here, maybe have more opportunities for discussion, and then so basically I think we need to understand that actually the Buddha is actually evolved a being, is the peak of the evolution. We can call it the blossomed flower of human living beings. That's the state of the Buddha. So thank you, Venerable Dr. Bhante Sumita, and maybe we can have some discussion from that. Right, I would like to maybe listen to your listeners, so maybe having some discussion with you on this topic on who was the Buddha.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Bhante. Can you hear me?
Yes, Bhante, yes.
All right. So I just want to say thank you so much for that wonderful um, Dhamma talk on who was the Buddha, unveiling the enlightened one. So as you mentioned, Buddha was, you said Buddha was not a deva, not
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 a
the food.
Gandhabba, not a Gandhabba, not a Yaka, and not a Manusa also.
Yeah,
That's the interesting part. It's not
yeah.
even, they say no.
So maybe like some of our followers might be a little bit confused when we
Yeah.
say like not even human. Then who was that? Would you like to little elaborate on that
Yeah.
one?
Actually, Bhante, in another sutta, Buddha has said that I am Acharya Manusa. In other discourse, he has admitted that, of course, I'm in human form, but I'm Acharya Manusa. Bhante, how you translate Acharya? Um,
Acharya is like extraordinary.
yeah, maybe I'm extraordinary human being. So of course, he was born as a human being. Of course, he was a human being. But when he's talk about his mind is not ordinary human being's mind. So definitely he was human. He was a historical person. He was a human being, but his mind has transcended, gone beyond that cannot be classified into any available category of beings.
That's very true. Like how he sacrificed his own life, right? And that's actually something that we need to really think. How
Yeah, but
he
we didn't
sacrificed.
discuss about his compassion. I mean, of course,
Yeah,
I mean, we
and
cannot do justice to this topic no matter how many days or how many, how much time we talk.
and being the royal family member, being the next in line to be the king, and then having all the luxuries in his life, and uh, he abandoned them just like nothing. And then he went to the fast and he practiced meditation. He lived under the trees and he lived on just simple food, such a simple lifestyle. And that transformation is really, really amazing. And that
Exactly.
itself, that
Yeah,
itself was very,
the kind of luxurious life he had, because Buddha himself has, shared, has later shared, his life childhood experience. We have that sutta called Sukumala Sutta, where Buddha talked about three palaces he had, what
yeah,
kind of, luxuries he had, and there's always person fanning him, behind, and there's always a person is, holding a shade above him, and he had an air conditioned life, one at that time. Yeah, he
right,
was
right.
he was attended by all female, and he was the only man. So living that kind of life, and then sacrificing everything to find the reality of the life and to help all other beings overcome the suffering, because he knew that the kind of life that he lived is is a fabric, is an artificial life, because that life cannot be maintained, and not everyone can live that kind of life. And you say he was more focused not on his personal happiness, but he was more focusing on the predicament of all the living beings. All living beings are vulnerable to experience this deep suffering. Everyone is in this blindness, this ignorance. So he really wanted to help all beings. So he sacrificed all this personal comfort. There's one interesting, incident recorded, in the in one sutta, where when Buddha went for his alms round for the first time after he became an ascetic, and now he had to find his own food, right? In the Padana Sutta, in the Padana Sutta. So he went for his alms round for the first time, and all these different people gave him different kinds of food. So he used to eat very refined food, very delicate, delicious, refined food. Now he collected all these, different kinds of food from all different villages. So there, and Buddha later has revealed his first feeling of disgust to see this all different kinds of food. When he look at this, his bowl, seeing all these different kinds of food mixed together, first he actually feels so much of disgust. How can I eat this? Yeah. But then he make his mind. I'm here not to enjoy food. I'm here to I'm here for a larger goal. I'm here for a bigger task. This food is just to help my body to maintain. So made his mind, make a strong determination, and learn to eat those force food, learn to eat. Think about that transformation. Eating from a very refined, a royal, cuisines to eat the street food. It's such a big transformation, and he developed his determination out of great compassion for all beings, and he ate it, and then that is what he ate throughout his life afterward.
Thank you so much. I do have a question here regarding what made him different actually from that royalty, that old comfort to a spiritual master. Again, Acharya Bhuta, quite extraordinary, a superhuman being, was the meditation, right?
Exactly, Bhante.
So, what role did meditation play in the Buddha's path to enlightenment? Would you like to elaborate?
Yes, exactly, Bhante. I think meditation is the key, the development of his mind. And even the Buddha first learned meditation techniques from two other teachers, and that is what he was really interested in. So he went to Alara Kalama and he learned meditation techniques to reach a higher level of concentration, and then he went to Uddaka Rama Uddaka Rama Putta, and he learned the meditation techniques go develop even a more deeper level of tranquility, samadhi. So that really, helped him. But he realized that that is not enough, because that those techniques that he learned from these two teachers help him to experience the state of the mind that's completely peaceful, completely calm and calm and completely nice. But you can only experience that when you are in the meditation. When you come out of the meditation, you are back to the normal world. So Buddha was more interested in finding out a transformation of the mind. Even we are out of the meditation, can we maintain that equanimity? Can we maintain that realization? So therefore he wanted a permanent shift of the consciousness, not the meditative deep peaceful state that one can achieve through meditation. So therefore Buddha was not fully satisfied those methods, though they was helpful. So therefore Buddha started to find his own method to like make this change permanent, even is maintain that kind of state, what we call anantariya samadhi, that equanimity even outside the meditation. That is where Bhante Buddha discovered vipassana techniques. Use this calm state of the mind, but don't stay there, but use that calmness, that's, that clarity of the mind to penetrate, to keenly observe the arising and passing away of all the phenomena and have a deep realization. Because ultimately we have to break this blindness, avijja, to make this transformation permanent. So definitely the meditation techniques he learned from previous teachers help him, and then his own meditation methods that he developed, what you call samma samadhi, and then also vipassana meditation help him to break through and have this deep realization and then become the Buddha.
Thank you so much. I know you are also in short of time. I have to release you because you have something else to do.
Yes,
But
Bhante.
before that, maybe if I ask you to just give a short answer to this, we have quite a lot of actually things here, questions. But maybe out of them, maybe this one. How did Siddhartha Gautama's quest for enlightenment reflect his human struggle and aspirations?
I think this is a great question. Definitely, I think the Siddhartha Gautama's quest for enlightenment definitely reflects, our human struggles, because we all, look for happiness. We all look for, deep satisfaction, and we everyone is looking for happiness. We all want to avoid suffering and want to, experience happiness. But what Siddhartha Gautama realized at this early age, actually, I'm looking for happiness in the wrong place.
Hmm.
And he said that I myself subject to a suffering, I myself subject to aging,
Hmm.
myself subject to sickness, myself subject to death, is looking for happiness in the people and the things which are also themselves subject to same thing.
Right,
Right.
right, right.
So
Yes.
he realized that he cannot find happiness on relying on things and people who are also decaying, who are also dying, who are also suffering themselves. So he realized that I cannot be happy relying on people who are already suffering. I cannot be happy relying on people and things who are already dying and impermanent. So that is why he was looking for a different method to be happy. Definitely, he went through the same struggle, same aspiration we are all going through. We all want happiness and peace. All human beings look for it in a wrong place, but Buddha found the right place to look for it. It is
Thank
this
you so
method.
much. So wonderful. I think we are actually in short of time
Yes,
to
unfortunately,
explain
but
all
I
these
have
things.
another commitment.
We
That's
have a lot of questions also lined up, and we really look forward to hearing from you a few more times in future,
yes,
hopefully on this subject or any other subject of your choice.
yes,
Thank you so much, Bhante, Dr. Um, Surakkulame Pemaratana. I really enjoyed the duration when I was staying there,
mhm.
and right now I'm in London, and again happy to be connected with you. And today we also have been joined by Rai Chatterjee, Jayanta Fernando, Ashwin Bodh, Anu Chitta, Maria, and Jobu and Bante Sankicha. Hello, Bante Sankicha. Fitness Yoga Nepal, and also Manal Vyasmeka, and yeah, some more people also join. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today with this wonderful Dhamma talk on who was the Buddha, unveiling the enlightened one. I'm sure Bhante Pemaratana has done justice to this topic, and really appreciate your kindness, compassion, and your generosity by practicing and helping us understand who the Buddha was. And looking forward to hearing you again in future also. And also thank everyone for joining us today. And we are looking forward to seeing you again with another Dhamma talk like this. With that, we conclude today. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Bhante. Thank you, Bhante. Wish everyone a great day ahead and have a great time.
Thank
Everyone,
you. So wonderful. Thank you. Would you like to actually chant, do a short chanting to
okay.
conclude the session?
Okay, let us maybe share the merits and do the chanting, and let us share our merits with by listening to this Dhamma, think about the Buddha. We generate so much good merits. Let us share these merits with all our departed ones and all living beings. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita huntu nyatayo. Idam me nyati nang hotu sukita huntu nyatayo. Idang minyatinang hotu sukita huntu nyatayo etavata cha amhihi sambhetang punya sampadam sabbe devanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhiya sabbe bhuta anumodantu Sabba Sampatti Siddhya Sabbe Sattha Anumodantu Sabba Sampatti Siddhya. Wishing blessings for good health, happiness for everyone. Bhavatu Sabba Mangalang Rakhantu Sabba Devata Sabba Buddhanubhavena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabba Mangalam Rakhantu Sabba Devata Sabba Dhammanubhavena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabba Mangalam Rakhantu Sabba Devata Sabba Sanghanubhavena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you so much. That
Okay.
was really amazing. And inspiring and rewarding. And with that, we conclude today's Dhamma Talk number 101. Looking forward to seeing you with 102 next week. Thank you. Thank you.